I got to remember that, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Roy was the chief of staff for Ted Cruz when they urged us into that shutdown in 13, and that went so well. So I think here in 13, 18, 19, we've had these shutdowns. They haven't accomplished a hell of a lot. And when people tell me that they want to just shut the country down, all right, I'll walk with you a little bit, but tell me what the end result is. Tell me how you're going to change the outcome here.
How are you going to convince them of what you're saying, though? These are your fellow Republicans.
Take my bill just for a second. Sure, take my bill, if you will, Homeland Security. All the things that they're asking for in H.R. 2, we're funding in our bill. But that doesn't get you on TV every day, and that kind of rhetoric is good for winding up the crowds in your hometown. But as far as making our government function and making it work for the American people, it doesn't make any sense.
I wonder who that Democrat is attacking my boy Chip. Joining me now, Congressman Chip Roy from the great state of Texas. Hey, Chip, who was that Democrat taking shots at you on TV?
Hey, Jesse, good to see you, brother. Well, it's one of my fellow Republicans. Look, we just flat disagree on this. Yeah, this is not a close call. Yeah, I was there with Ted Cruz in 2013. Jesse, you remember that. You're a big friend and fan of Ted Cruz. And look, you know what the result was in 2014? Republicans did quite well. And we gained 13 seats, raised the House number up to 247. Why? Because we fought for something. And Republicans ran last year on actually fighting for something. And unfortunately, most of my Republican colleagues don't seem willing to honor that commitment, to end up trying to produce a result rather than just passing bills that are going to die in the Senate. That's the whole point here. With all due respect to my colleague, yes, he and others, in part due to the deal we were worked out in January to have more conservatives on the Appropriations Committee, we now have a Homeland Appropriations bill that does move the needle in the right direction. But it's not enough. We need to make sure that whatever we're doing is actually going to stop the flow at the border. And passing appropriations bills that are going to die in the Senate is not going to do that. That's our point. We have no interest in funding Alejandro Mayorkas to continue to screw over the people of Texas, endanger us, endanger people to die from fentanyl, allow terrorists to come into our country, allow ammo to be found along the border, as you've seen reporting in the last week, and importantly, to have people getting sold into the sex trafficking trade. No longer, not on our watch. Texas has spent $10 billion. It's time for this to end, and that's what this is about.
Chip, can you explain where we're at in this appropriations process? You've already told us we have this appropriations process going on right now. We have to figure out what we fund, what we don't fund. I know we're not going to get everything we want. I'm not an idiot. But I also understand, hopefully we can get something. What are we trying to get, and what are our odds to get it?
Yeah, I mean, look, our odds are wholly dependent on whether Republicans will fight. And don't laugh, because I know what your response is going to be on that. You have rightfully been raising questions and mocking the Republicans who go out and complain about the Department of Justice, but yet are almost certain to fund that Department of Justice in about 3 weeks. That's the point. So I just want everybody out there to understand. Last December, Republicans, 17 Republican senators, joined forces with the Pelosi Democrats to jam through an omnibus bill that virtually every House Republican opposed and that the American people opposed. And what the question is going to be on September 30th is, are we going to rubber stamp a continuing resolution that is a bill that will keep government funded at last year's levels? Are we going to maintain that status quo? If we do, then we're maintaining the funding and the priorities of the Biden administration and at the grossly high level from last December. Our position is that we should not do that. We should limit those funds and or get massive policy changes, starting first with the border and ensuring that we actually change what's happening at the border with respect to the assault on Texas and endangering our country, but also dealing with things like the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense and its wokeness. And frankly, I'm just going to be blunt, Jesse. I'm saying to my Republican leadership, pick a damn fight, any fight. Just give me a fight so that we can actually go stand up and say it's a fight that we're going to stand up and fight for. I think it ought to be the border, maybe a few of those other provisions. But, you tell me, should we fund the ATF to go after American citizens with pistol braces or universal background checks? Should we fund the Department of Justice to target Scott Smith and Mark Houck and former President Trump? Should we fund Alejandro Mayorkas to allow cartels to own our border, send people in, send fentanyl in, allow our kids to die? Should we continue to fund a DOD that's funding all sorts of woke programs and funding abortion tourism and transgender surgeries? You tell me. I don't think my constituents want me to take their tax dollars and fund that garbage. That's what the fight is about.
For too long, we've been led to believe that communism is a thing of the past. But the truth is, communism is alive. It's here, and it's infiltrating every aspect of American life. Introducing the Anti-Communist Manifesto by Jesse Kelly, the practical guide for patriots ready to defend our nation from its most dangerous enemy. Discover the shocking extent of communist infiltration in our education system, their alliance with American corporations, and the twisted truth behind environmentalism. This eye-opening book exposes the true face of communism and empowers you to fight back. Join the fight for freedom. Pre-order your copy of the Anti-Communist Manifesto today by going to jessekelleybook.com.